morning. I've got my coffee and I'll get my apron on and we'll get started. My name is Angie Sutton and my program is called Apron Strings, and it's an opportunity for me to show you in about 3 minutes what you can do with 5 ingredients or less. Today we're making one of my holiday favorites called Avalanche Bark. And I'm making several batches, and so to save time on the program today, I've already started one of my batches, but I'll go through all of the ingredients and let you know what the steps are, and we'll get started. So what we're going to do is we're going to melt, and I'm using my microwave today, a 12-ounce bag of white chocolate chips. This is one that I would not use the generic brand on because you really want a good consistency and a nice taste with your white chocolate chips. So we'll go ahead and pour those into a larger bowl. And we're also going to put in 1/4 cup of creamy peanut butter. Now I'm using a generic brand peanut butter because I think it tastes just fine in this particular recipe. So we'll get that in the microwave. This is part of actually my second batch, but you want a nice creamy consistency. Now with using the microwave with melting chocolate chips of any kind, you've got to be very careful. I think you should check more often. I put mine in for 3 minutes on a lower power, about 70%. But, you know, I've got a nice consistency here. I'll make sure all of those chips are good and melted. Okay, so the 1/4 cup of peanut butter and 1 12-ounce bag of the white chocolate chips. We've melted that. Now we're going to add 3 cups of crispy rice cereal. Now you can use a name brand. I'm using a generic brand today, but we're going to add 3 cups of this generic rice cereal to our bowl, and we're just going to stir that in and make sure those get nice and coated. It smells fantastic. All right. Now the key here is now, once we get this mixed, we have to make sure that it gets to room temperature. We don't want to add the next grouping of ingredients because they'll melt, and we don't really want them to melt. So, what I did to cool them a little quicker is I spread that out on a cookie sheet covered with wax paper. So let me go ahead and get these good and coated, all right? And, very good. That's what it's going to look like once you've got all of the rice cereal coated. So I'm just going to set this aside and let this get to room temperature. Meanwhile, this is what I started. And again, I laid it out on a cookie sheet covered with wax paper. And we will get that back into a bowl and add the next part of our ingredients. What I'm going to do with these is put them in a nice decorative box and take them around to my neighbors today. So it'll be a nice holiday treat for those that are having families in town. All right. We've got that back in the bowl. Let's get this out of the way. Okay, so your next grouping of ingredients would be a 1/2 cup of mini chocolate chips. And again, we're just going to spread those out. I put in a little bit at a time. Just kind of mix it around. And again, you want to start with a large bowl. That way, you've got plenty of room to stir and mix. I have a dog, so anything that falls on the floor is fair game. Alright, now we've got our 1/2 cup of chocolate chips, the mini chocolate chips. And again, I would go with the name brand on this and not the generic, just because of the taste. These are semi-sweet chocolate chips. Then our last ingredient for our Avalanche Bark today is 1 1/2 cups of mini marshmallows. I did the generics on these. I think they taste fine. We're just going to mix in a little at a time to get those evenly spread throughout the bowl. Now while you're waiting for your beginning mixture to cool to room temperature, you'll want to get a 9 by 13 pan. I used a glass pan. Coat it with butter. I wouldn't use the spray, like the spray pan or anything like that, because it's not going to taste as well. But you want to make sure that your entire pan is coated, because they'll come out a little bit prettier once we cut them. So we've now got all of our marshmallows good and mixed in. Okay, I did 1.5 cups of the mini marshmallows, but I kind of like a few more, so I'm going to add a few more in there. Alright, so once we have all of those ingredients spread throughout our bowl, we'll go ahead and put them into the prepared buttered pan. Just kind of spread that out. You'll want to press it down with, I'm using just a spoonula, a spatula that's kind of curved and shaped like a spoon. You don't want to press it down too hard into the pan because you don't want to crush your cereal. But once you get it spread into your pan, I have to get all of this, okay? Just kind of pat it down so that when it cools, we're going to pop it into the refrigerator for about 30 minutes. That helps it cool a little quicker. And to set up as well. So once we do this, just kind of press it down. I'll use my hands a little bit. It gets pretty sticky, so. Alright. Very good. And this is what it looks like once you get it in the pan and press down. And I'll just pop it in the refrigerator. I'm going to leave that in the refrigerator for about 30 minutes, and you'll be able to tell because it will set up to a point where you can cut it. I'm going to cut mine into squares, and I've got some decorative boxes that I'm going to put them in, and I'll put my neighbors' names on the different boxes. I'm not going to mix anything else in with that just because these, the Avalanche Bark is pretty heavy, and once you cut it, it's pretty thick. So it stacks up and fills the box nicely. Now if you want this recipe, I've got it posted on my website at www.mothersapronstrings.com. Again, that's mothersapronstrings.com. And I hope that you have an opportunity to make some of this Avalanche Bark and share it with your family, your friends, your neighbors, take it to church, send it to school with the kids. It makes a great treat. For kindergartners, first graders, second graders, just about anybody loves this. And so good luck with yours, and we'll see you again next time on Apron Strings. Thank you.